Okay, so imagine now we've opened up our Excel workbook, and on the first tab we're greeted by what looks to be a KPI dashboard. Now we could use this as part of our inquiry. It's going to give us a very high level overview of how the accounts are actually performing. So let's include this as part of our task, and let's make this KPI dashboard real time. And let's use Atlas to do so. So I'm going to my Excel menu, and I'll click on my Atlas 6.1, and I'll open up my Atlas ribbon, and from within the inspector group I'm going to click on my snippets. Now a snippet is a saved representation of a report or query, which may contain a drill down or an upload or even a lookup. General good practice would be to begin any new report or query using your snippets. However, there will be times where there won't be a snippet quite suited for your report or your query. So in those situations, you'll actually need to build one from scratch. However, in today's example, I do have some snippets for this KPI chart, so let's use them. Watch, well, let's update them now. So I've just dragged and dropped my total sales to date into my corresponding total sales cell, and I'm going to do the same with my sales to date, and now I'm going to drop my opportunities in there as well. So when I use my snippets, it can quite simply be a drag and drop. Now what we've done now is we've made those three cells real time. Any transactions in CRM that occur, it will show up in this worksheet. Now we can also tell whether or not a cell or a table or a shape has an Atlas report embedded in it by the user defined definition. You'll see that this one actually equals Atlas 6. Just the Atlas 6. Whereas if we compare that to an Excel formula or Excel user defined definition, if we look at say I think it's I10, yep, we see there just your standard Excel formula. Now what's also interesting with this KPI chart is when we use Atlas's single cell reports or single cell queries, we can attach more information using Atlas's drill downs. So in the total sales for last year, we actually attached a drill down earlier, and we actually divided this, or we broke it down by relationship type and the amount of I guess total sales or the sales against that relationship type, and represented it in a pie graph. Now in the sales to date, we've kind of done similar, but we've broken it down by account. So we've provided account name and number and the sales that are contributed against that account, and we also represented the time in which those sales were made in the bar graph below. So you've just seen very quickly how those two functionalities of drill down and single cell reporting combined really complement one another. Okay, now this sheet's now real time. We can share this, we can reuse it. We need to update our US opportunity information. There's still a lot more information we need to get out of CRM, so let's do that. We'll go to our second tab, and we'll start to build our report here, and we'll begin this just like we did when we updated our KPI chart. We'll open up the Atlas ribbon, and we'll select our snippets, and then we'll grab the snippet that we want to use for our query or the beginnings of our report, and like our snippet, we'll just drag and drop that into Excel. Okay, great. Now, unlike our single cell, this one's returned a table, and it's contained our account number, account name, primary contact, open deals, staff manager or manager of the account, and as you can see, the table itself actually behaves just like a normal table would in Excel. Right, now we need to add some more information to this, so we'll do that using Atlas. So this time we'll open up the ribbon again, but this time we're going to click on data, and we'll add our fields from the accounts table. Excellent. And we'll grab our revenue. Beautiful. Annual revenue and our open revenue, and we'll grab our relationship type as well, because we know we're only dealing with customers and resellers, so we'll use that as a filter later on. Right, great. Now let's update our report or our table. Now we have the beginnings of what looks to be becoming quite a useful report. Now we touched on it before. We need to start looking at reducing some of the information here. We already know we only deal with the customers and resellers, so let's look at filtering those out of the report now. Now, using Atlas, there are two ways of applying a filter. There is applying a filter to the query itself or to the report. So in this example, we'll apply the filter of the relationship type to the report, but we'll designate the value in the highlighted cell. So we'll go into our Atlas ribbon, click on our filters, and then we go and apply the filtered field. So we know it already comes from the accounts table, so we just search for it and put it in our relationship type. And we shall select it as our filter, and we'll close the properties window. Now we'll edit that to tell Atlas that I want the filter to reside in that particular cell. Okay, and then we'll go OK. And when it turns blue, we know it's configured. Great, and we'll close it off. And now let's update the report. Now, similar to what we did with the drill downs, in that highlighted cell there, we actually built what we call a lookup. Now, a lookup provides users information in which to choose from. So in this particular example, as you can see, they can now choose the relationship, say, of customer, which applies the value to the cell and filters the report by customer. Or I can select reseller again. Now, some users may not want to use that, and this would be good for, say, a new user that's not too sure of what decisions or what they can use for their filter, whereas a staff member who's been there for a while may know what to use and may just wish to key it straight in. So you can still use two ways of doing so. What the lookup really does is provide that information in which they can choose from into an area that they can select it from. Now, we'll select multiple because we know we want to deal with, say, the customers and the resellers, and let's apply that. Okay, great. Now that's our first filter applied. We also know that we're only dealing with the US accounts, so we need to filter the report from the US accounts as well. So this time, let's apply a filter to the actual query. Okay then. So to do so, again, I'm just going to click within the table. So I'm just going to let Atlas know this is the table, this is the report I'm dealing with. And I'll open up my Atlas ribbon. And I'm going to click on filters again. Now, there's a few ways I can actually go into my data right now because it is part of my table and I can actually select it as my filter. So to do that from this way, I simply go to the field properties and I'm going to say that it is going to be a filter, and I set it to be a filter as well. And I'm actually going to type into the query US star, which is my wildcard, to inform Atlas that this is the filter that I'm applying to the query. And as you see, when I update the report, it now only returns the US accounts. A user can still filter it by customer type and reseller, but it is now only going to return US typed accounts, which is great if you look at wanting to reduce the data that's coming back from your database. Okay, it's starting to look really good. Now, if I was to share this, I would make some changes. So, for example, I would actually begin to make at least like some revenue fields. So I'll do that using Atlas, drop a comma in and drop two decimal places, and then we'll update that. Okay, lovely, and that's updated. And I wouldn't mind making some other changes as well to the style of this report. I wouldn't mind changing the order and added some sums and some counts to some of these fields. So to do so, again, I would open up my Atlas ribbon, and this time I'm going to adjust the style. So click on style, and you can see I now have a style inspector that opens up. Now, within here I can make a few changes. I can group the report, or I can change the table type. But I don't want to do that at the moment. Really, all that I want to do is change the order. So I'm going to grab those revenue fields, and I'm just going to drag them towards the end there because I want them to display at the end of the report. Yep, there we go. And grab the annual one as well. Beautiful. Yep, that's looking good. And now what I'll probably end up doing is I'll probably start adding my sums and accounts to these tables as well. Okay, and that's really quite simple. So I'm just going to click on update, so the columns in order. Beautiful. And let's add those counts. So to begin with, let's look at how many accounts are we dealing with. So let's quickly just add a count of those. Excellent. And I don't know how many open deals we have. So let's do the same. We'll do some of those. Okay, and we want to know the totals as well. So we'll make those changes. And there we go. Excellent. We'll close the properties windows and we'll update the report. There we go. That's fantastic. All right then. Now this is really becoming a report that we can share. And as we know, because it's an Atlas report, all the users of this, when they need to refresh it or they want current data, they simply need to either just A, open up the workbook, or B, go within the Atlas ribbon and hit refresh. Now let's just make some quick field name changes. We'll change that to a primary contact, and then we'll get the owner name. Let's just make that account manager so it's not confusing. And let's line these up a little bit more to the KPI chart on the first tab. So we'll call this one the sales to date, and we could have called this one total sales or sales last year. There we go. And I'll update that. Okay, great. Now I can share this report, and I have no fear of any of it being taken out or someone changing it or it breaking. Even though I've changed the field names, I could potentially wipe a whole section of it out, watch, and delete it. And even though I've made field name changes and everything else, I just simply need to refresh the report and it'll go back and grab that live information. And again, if there's any transactions between now and then, they would be represented in this report as well. Okay, great. So at the moment, I really do have a better understanding of how my accounts perform, how my team and the accounts within my team are performing. And get that information out of the CRM really wasn't that hard at all. Now I'm going to save the snippet because I may end up reusing it. So I'm just going to drop it in my snippet library. And that way, if I do wish to share it, I can either just send someone the snippet or I can just send them the report. And to send them the snippet, I could just embed it in an email or a Word document and just send it to them. So I save that now. And whenever I need to reuse it, it's just within my library. Okay, brilliant. Now, we've still got a little bit of work on the front page. We still need to update our US opportunities for that KPI chart. So I mean, if we're actually really going to use this document and share it with everyone, we really should finish updating it. Now, we didn't have a snippet for this, but we're actually going to use an existing one and change it so it becomes our US opportunities. So we'll grab the all opportunities new one, and it's quite simply, we just right click it and copy it, paste it into the cell that I want to display the data within. Now that's okay, I've got all opportunities, and I simply now need to add the filter to it. So again, I go to Atlas and I click on my filter. And then I'm going to add the filterable field because it's not part of the initial snippet. So I need to add it new. And it's from a related table, so I need to look it up. So we'll grab the opportunity customer accounts table. Excellent. And we'll grab the account number, because that's what we're going to use for our filter. And close the properties window. Now we'll configure the filter to be US accounts only. There we go. And we'll close the property windows and we'll update that snippet or that single cell report. There we go. And now we're going to save it. Now, to be useful, it'd be nice to put a drill down on it. So let's quickly do that. All right. Now I don't have a snippet for that either. So we're going to have to build this from scratch. And this is how simple it is. So I'm just going to pick any cell on my fresh worksheet or my fresh workbook, and I'm going to click new, and I'm going to select the type of report I want and my data source. So I select my CRM data source, and then I click next. Now these are all being preset. I've already saved my tables, but I'm going to select my opportunities table, and I'm going to look for the estimated value, and I guess I'll also get the estimated close date. So there's my estimated revenue, and my estimated close date. And let's look at a description too, just so we kind of know what the opportunity is. Now it's not a compulsory field, so I'm not too sure what descriptions will come back, but let's have a look. Now, I also need to get my account details, and again, as before, it's from a related table. So as you can see, I've gone now from my opportunities table to my account table, and I'm grabbing my account number and my account name from the account table and applying it to my query. And I'll grab the open deals while I'm in there as well, just to give us a little bit more of that contextual awareness of all the data that makes up those US opportunities. Okay, brilliant. And we'll drop that in there. Now, as you can see, it's very raw at the moment, and we're pretty accurate on the description field as well. Alright, so let's make the changes we need to do. To begin, we need to filter it so it's just US accounts, because that's all we're dealing with. So let's just filter the query from this point forward, so it never has to pull more data back than it needs to. Okay? Excellent. Now, obviously, at a glance, this is still not easy to digest or easy to consume information, so let's do that. But before we do that, let's just take out any figure that's 0. So we'll just filter that by greater than 0. Excellent. Or excluding anything less than. We just want figures showing greater than. Yep. Okay, you're done. And we've applied it. We'll just the order. So it's a bit more like consumable. Fantastic. We don't really worry about any name changes on this one, but we will add some counts. So let's look at how many of the accounts are applicable. Let's also look at adding some account to the open deals. Yep, fantastic. Yeah, there'll be some here. And we want some estimated revenue base. Beautiful. There we go. Now that would make a good little drill down. So let's attach it. Now to attach this to our drill down, it's as simple as this. I simply save my table or my report into my snippet library. Yep. Just quickly give it a name, and we'll just call it US drill. Excellent. And we'll save that. Okay, lovely. Now you've all seen how quickly that was built. So now let's attach that to our US opportunities as our drill down. So you've seen me quickly select the cell in which my query resides. I've told Atlas which one it is, and now I'm telling Atlas I want to attach a drill down to it. So I go down my drill down panel, I go into my configuration section. I'm now going to quickly give my drill down a name. So just call it US opportunities. Go next. And then I'm going to pick the snippet and attach it as my drill down, which will be my US drill. Excellent. Done. There we go. So now you've also seen how quickly we can attach our tables or our reports or our and combine the functionality. And there we go, there's our totals and then they match. And there's the count of our opportunities. Now we could go in further and make further changes to that and add some graphical representation as we had in this example. But is that another day? So how did Atlas assist me with accomplishing my tasks? Well, I needed accurate data and I needed current data. And Atlas provided me single cell or table style reporting functionality and connected me to the true source. Therefore, I didn't need to copy and paste. I did not need to rekey any data, and nor did I need to rely upon any old data from any old report. Initially, I wanted to perform this analysis myself. I needed some quick analysis, I needed fast answers. And because Atlas is installed on my local PC and embedded in my Microsoft Office Suite documents, it was very simple to use, and I required no advanced skill sets. It actually empowered me to perform the analytics when I needed without assistance. I didn't need to make a call to a busy IT department, and I didn't need to ask a colleague or a subordinate for assistance. Initially, I wanted to perform analysis in the one platform. Because Atlas is installed on my local desktop and again embedded in my local Microsoft Office document suite, it was there when I needed it. So what do you think contributes to Atlas's success? Well, I think the first one would be is because it's familiar. With minimal training required, employees can easily bend business data from their CRM systems into spreadsheets, emails and presentations. It's convenient. It allows our employees to work within the Office system for greater efficiencies and faster results. When we use Atlas, everything we do is accurate. Employees can be assured of accurate, up-to-date information from CRM, and this ensures that the data is current and eliminates errors caused by any potential rekeying. When we also use Atlas, we also know everything we do is secure. Atlas uses CRM security, therefore only users with the adequate permissions can view and if permitted, manipulate the data. Atlas contains all the reporting features you could possibly need, all within the single toolset. Single cell reporting provides us the highest degree of format control. Potentially every Office document, cell, content, control or shape is a host or could be a host for an Atlas report. Table lists, embedded Microsoft Dynamic lists and summaries, matrix and pivot reports into our Office documents as a table. Through the use of drill down, we can make better decisions in less time by using the contextual awareness. Our snippets save time each time we reuse our saved queries. Filters and lookups enable us to reduce the data that is irrelevant, enabling us to focus on the data that is relevant. And refresh, we never need to rebuild a report again. We simply refresh it, we reconnect, and we just grab the latest information from our system. Interested? Then get started and trial now. Visit our website at www.globesoftware.com. On day one, you receive full designer capabilities, free installation, free support, and access to all of Atlas's features. We also provide training on how to use Atlas 6.1. Thank you for attending the presentation today. I'll now open up the floor for any questions you may have. Thank you.